We got a lot. You know what? We need some theme music. Yeah, we ain't had no theme music in a while. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming to another edition of Gathering the Old Man podcast. Myself, TP, Marlo, Doc may be on the way here a little bit later. So I don't want to necessarily call this beef, but there was a Sports Illustrated article that came out, and it was talking about the young man from Howard. And this started conversation in the Twitter sphere about should he stay, should he go, you know, what all of that is entail. And for those who, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here because you can go ahead and read that on Sports Illustrated. But the gist of it was, you know, where we are in today's sports with NIL and transfer portal. Like, should he stay? Should he go? What can Howard do to keep him? And my thought process was, it ain't that hard for Howard to keep him. He already getting the exposure because he's on a Sports Illustrated cover. I'm sure Howard can figure out some kind of way to get him some money. So I don't think it would be as hard as people want to make it for him to stay. But on the flip side, if he does leave, that's not an indictment on Howard, and it's not an indictment on him and his character, none of that. So let's eliminate all those discussions right off the bat. That's just egos. That's just our ego in a situation. We're gonna feel some type of way if he leaves. He didn't leave you for another chick. He left you for a different path. That's it. He didn't leave you behind, or I shouldn't even say leave. He went to a different path. It's not the same as him going from a Florida State to a Florida. That being said, friend of the show, and go ahead.
If he left, where would he go?
I mean, who knows? I'm sure there's some teams in the Northeast and maybe even in the Carolinas that, you know, want him on their team. But friend of the show and fellow content creator podcaster Malcolm Banks, listed a few teams today on his Twitter of where he can go. And because Malcolm is a good dude and he's from the Bay Area, I didn't tell him to go to hell. But when he put Duke up there, Syracuse, I'm not too much worried about. But when he put Duke up there, it touched something in my soul to make me want to say something. But I was like, you know what? I can turn my anger into a positive, and I can donate to Howard's NIL collective. That way, I've done my part to make sure he don't end up at Duke. And yes, this whole segment was about me being petty.
I was just about to say that because that's what it sounds like. So the young man has, you know, the word they used was blossom into a young star, right?
He is special.
We talked about this on Tuesday. If you recall, you know, what would drive a player to leave a particular program or school, or what would drive them to stay? Is money the key motivator here? Because if it is, then Howard doesn't have a chance. If that's the key, you know what I'm saying? Like, just being realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to be realistic about things, but also use different perspectives. You know, to understand perception, you got to change your perspective. And if he is, you know, chasing the bag, or he comes from an impoverished family, I don't necessarily know his background and everything. And if he has the opportunity to change the lives of his family right now while still pursuing an NBA career, you know, it's kind of hard. And Duke has been known to put players in the NBA. They're like the basketball version of Alabama. You go to Duke, you got a great chance of making it to the league, or at least competing for a roster spot somewhere. You'll make it to the G League. Like, you know, the sky's the limit. So I think we have to find out what motivates him. You know?
And again, like I said, this started out as me being petty because I was perfectly okay with ignoring this conversation. But in the grand scheme of everything, it's a conversation that needs to happen. Like, all jokes aside, I know Howard, of all the HBCUs, have a affluent alumni base. Do I think money is an issue? I don't. Based on what people have told me, I think they could figure something out money-wise. I think the issue.
Call Kamala.
I think the issue is more on the conference. And I'll get to why I had to apologize to them today. The onus is more on the conference than it is on Howard. And the reason I say that is because the MEAC has had impactful games that people have not seen. South Carolina State is number 2 in the conference. But when they played Norfolk, we didn't see that game. That game wasn't on TV. That's an issue. Now, to be fair, the women, Howard and Norfolk State, played today on ESPNU. Do I like that it's one of the extra subscription channels? No. But it was on ESPNU. And you could also, if you have ESPN, Disney Plus, and all of that, you could have seen it on ESPN Plus.
It would have been included in your package.
Right. So that option was there, and that's a win. So, again, I apologize to MEAC because, and again, it's not solely on the MEAC, but the MEAC being a ESPN partner goes hand in hand. So these games can't, especially when you have a star, every chance you get, he got to be on TV because it helps the entire conference. It helps Norfolk State, it helps NCCU, it helps everybody. He's got to be on TV. So it is a story that needs to be talked about.
This and here lies where we get into the business aspect school-wise, right? Because we look at things as investments. All players are an investment to the team and to the organization. So if you got the money to keep him, in the same breath, you should be talking to these media outlets trying to promote him. Because in promoting him, you're promoting your school, which will get you more opportunities to be on TV. And what does that do for the future? More players want to go there because this shows them that you have a commitment to the players. Like I said, it's an investment. So you have to invest. But in order to do that, you have to have people that want to be a part of it.
The MEAC is positioned. They're positioned very well, right? So you have this young kid at Howard in basketball. You have this team in Norfolk State that is playing very well. You have South Carolina State that is also playing very well. On the basketball side, you have Golds. And then on the football side, you got Michael Vick. You got Deshaun Jackson. You have storyline investment items that an ESPN can say, oh, we can sink our teeth into this. Now, each one of these entities have to do their part. They have to make compelling stories, compelling games. I'm not saying this will happen, but if Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson go out there next season and be 0-5 in the first 3 games of the season, 0-6 in the first 3 games of the season, that's not going to be a good look. But if they give them something to work with, it's going to be good for the entire conference. So that's all I was thinking about today. And again, shout out to Early. She sent me, as soon as I made the post, she sent me the HU Collective. I did not get a chance for the podcast to add their link in, but I will put a link in the description after the show so that those who want to go donate to Howard can go donate to Howard. And just to be clear, I have either donated to or posted a link to every HBCU that I know of. So it isn't one-sided. Like if you got a story, hey, give me your link. That's what we do around here. And the Johnny Black program, again, we've donated early in the season, Norfolk State, South Carolina. Did we do? I don't think we did South Carolina State this year, but I think we've pretty much been around the MEAC and the SWAC, and a couple CIAA schools, and we donated to Suno in New Orleans. So
you better not say no
we've been
damn.
very good about our donation.
Why is it under my name? Yeah.
So, as always, I was going through some of the old clips, and I stumbled onto a clip that I think is very interesting. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this play, and for your enjoyment. Fight again. I'm gonna be there to watch it.
Marlo, what did you say? Marlo, what did you say earlier?
We are not leaving the arena. we in the concourse out there.
Scrapping the concourse.
Marlo,
In the concourse.
Marlo, let me ask you a question.
I don't know what's happening. This was a fail. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's loading. I don't know. This is a terrible idea.
My sisters about me. They smelling salting me up. And I was like, wait.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Marlo, let me ask you the question. So after you come to, and say me, you and Troy, we rapping the taste about it. You know, we be hours. We wake up Sunday morning. We go get some breakfast, some champagne, try and, forget the shit and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll play it again. I'll play the full thing later. This option that the software has is not functioning like I wanted to. But anyway, so I guess in this new NFL, we just doing anything. So in the last 48 hours, DK has asked to be traded, and so has TJ Hawkinson has asked to be traded. Now, let's get to TJ first, right? What has he done? And if I'm not mistaken, the Bengals has okayed him seeking a trade. What has he done to be able to request a trade?
Where there's need, he may not feel that he's a valued member of the team. And another, like, if you watch the Bengals play, they don't throw to their tight ends a lot. They probably use their tight ends the least out of every other team in the NFL. He was, pretty productive when he was in Minnesota, albeit they didn't really have a QB. Well, they had Kirk Cousins. They didn't have a QB. And, he moves on. I don't know what you have to do or what clout you have to request a trade or what's required to, that's okay. But I mean, if he wants out, then that's his prerogative, and it's up to the team whether or not they make that decision. You still got to pay him if you keep him. So I mean, he's going to get paid regardless. And maybe he just wants to play football, and he don't feel like he's getting to play football the way that he is used to being in that system.
Okay, hold on 1 second, because I feel like
He knows
it's the
that
wrong TJ.
there isn't going to be any money if this is the one with the Bengals. Ain't gonna be no money left.
I
That
just
too.
I don't. And again, I think I'm saying the wrong TJ. I said TJ Hawkinson. I believe I'm saying the wrong TJ. It's the TJ from the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I'm about to say TJ Hawkinson is still on the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Trey Hendrickson.
Trey
Hendrickson. Again, Trey Hendrickson. Defensive end, he has had 35 sacks over the past 2 seasons. My bad. Maybe he does. Maybe he does have a reason to request a trade.
No, Trey Hendrickson definitely has earned a they're gonna have to pay him. He's one of the best pass rushers in the league. If you ask me, he's the best player on their defense.
How many franchise tags do you have?
2.
No, it's one. There's only one franchise tag.
But there's a supplemental tag that you can put.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but they can't use that on somebody that makes as much as he does.
Correct.
There is a cap on the amount that you can pay somebody under the supplemental tag. Franchise tag is like an average of the top 3 at that position.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so he would get paid if they franchise, but that doesn't guarantee the longevity of him being there. Then you start to lose trade value. If you're trying to keep your team competitive, it's not always in your best interest to franchise tag players over and over again.
They already used their tag.
Yeah, so like in our case with the Cowboys, we was gonna tag Osa Odigizua, right? But we got his deal done. So now they was gonna go ahead and try to franchise Michael Parsons. You don't want to do that, because guess what? If you franchise him, you're gonna have to pay him
top 3.
like Max. Top 3 like Max Crosby.
Yeah, who just raised the cap?
On just for him, just for what because Max Crosby is a real defensive end, and Micah is a hybrid, because he's a hybrid linebacker / DN. So,
can I be disrespectful?
What about Trey Hendrickson? You think he's a true big hand on the ground DN?
Yeah, he's a true hand on the ground DN.
Yeah.
Can I be disrespectful?
Yeah.
Can I be disrespectful for a minute?
Don't be disrespectful to my Cowboys.
I'm not. It ain't even your Cowboys. It's not. It's not. It's not. I promise you, it's not anything about the Cowboys.
The disrespect segment.
$106 million. We are paying one man to play defensive end. That does not affect winning. We don't have a quarterback. We don't have wide receivers. We don't have a running back. We just gave up $106 million. Now, in the grand scheme of things, based on the length of the contract, it does not hurt the cap that much, and we still got a lot of room under the cap. However, this is the NFL. It ain't Target. We can't just go in there and pick out what we need and then have a playoff team. We did not need to sign him today.
Who
Yes,
pissed
you
in your
did.
Cheerios this morning?
I'm well saying y'all needed to sign Max Crosby. That he was one of your integral pieces right there. Because
We
guess
still
what?
had 2 years.
But
Can we
still, though, it was an
slow down for a
extension
second?
though.
Can we slow down for a second, right?
Because
Let's
it's
think
an extension,
about-
right?
Let's think
Yeah.
about every Super Bowl winning team in the last 10 years. What did each of these teams
I didn't
have?
think about the 10, not 10 years.
No,
Let's go back the
no.
last 5 years. Go back to 5.
We can do 5. What did
Let's do
each of
5.
these teams have in common?
They had a dominant defensive front man.
Okay. And what did the Raiders just do?
Lock up one of the best defensive front men, y'all. That because guess what? Let's just say if the Cowboys they didn't pick up Michael Parsons. Guess who was next on the list?
Eagles.
And he's from the DFW area. It would have been Max Crosby. We would have signed Max Crosby. Crosby would have came home. He would have set the whole defense up.
We saw
In
what the
2
Eagles
years.
just did. We saw what the Eagles just did to the Chiefs. And this is a recipe that goes back a long while. I'll take you back to the undefeated Patriots going against Eli Manning's Giants. How were they able to beat Tom Brady? I give you a hint. It didn't include blitzing. It included pressure with your front four. And you can only do that if you have somebody dominant up there.
This
so
all
they
sounds
locked
good.
up one of the better pass rushers, and he can play the run as well. That is somebody who is if they want to be successful, you got to think about it. Okay, $106 million sound like a lot, right? What's the cap hit? What's the length of the deal? Because these things matter in the grand scheme of cap money. We're not talking about $106 million out of the cap this year. You're talking about over a period of years. Can we build around him?
I think he is just under $20 million a year because they got all the fancy bonus and whatnot. So he's just under 21 a year. But the number, I would have no problem with them giving him 106 if I knew we had a quarterback locked up. We ain't got no quarterback locked up.
You got to start.
I'm sorry.
We got one. But here's the thing, though, Troy. A lot of teams nowadays are not going to start off with trying to lock up their QB. Not now. Because guess what? Majority of teams in the NFL already had their QB because they drafted them. Unless they traded for him. Okay. Buffalo drafted. Mahomes, he was drafted. Even with Dak Prescott, he was drafted and he got his deal. He just got to Texas.
Drafted. And what did we do? The very next year, we went out and got Daniil Hunter from Minnesota.
Yeah,
because we understood that getting to the quarterback, it just doesn't help when the refs want to throw, random flags on people. That's not gonna help you win. So but you see the recipe. That's the recipe for success. Even when Stroud was playing his worst this year, our defense still held it down because we were able to get pressure on quarterbacks. We were top 3 in quarterback pressure. You want to know what Max Crosby's win rate is? He's in the top 5.
I don't. Max Crosby.
You pay him, and then you draft a quarterback. Jackson.
I don't want to be the Bucs. I don't want to be the Bucs. I don't want to have an awesome defense year in and year out.
What does this have to do with the Bucs? Y'all had the chance to get J.J. McCarthy. You passed on it and took a tight end.
Hold on. Whoa.
So when we talking about decisions, y'all had a chance to get a franchise quarterback last draft. That's when you should have
everything.
All of this thing that you have right now should have been should have been carried for last year because as good as Brock Bowers is, y'all needed a quarterback. And if you have the opportunity, it's not like y'all went out in free agency and got Max Crosby. No, you locked up one of your own for a long period of time. Now, if they're out shopping around looking for DNs when they should have been shopping for a quarterback, then I can understand where you be coming from. Mm-hmm. But y'all locked up somebody that y'all built and developed at home. That's where you do it. That's how you build a winning franchise.
I agree, but I'm going to say this. We have been in this rebuild mode forever and a day because why? We keep picking bad coaches.
You won't pick a quarterback either.
Hey, because we picked the bad coach who did. Oh my God!
You can't pick a bad coach and then not let him make player personnel decisions and then blame it on the coach.
Sure can't.
Choir boy Jimmy.
Jimmy who?
Garoppolo.
Oh.
Worst decision we ever made. I still remember that Monday Night Football game. Tay was wide open twice on the out route, and he couldn't get the ball there. He needs to start sleeping.
Patriots fooled y'all.
He needs to start sleeping with porn stars again, Anyway.
Patriots had folks thinking Jimmy Garoppolo was the next coming, and the only reason he wasn't on the field because they had the greatest quarterback of all time.
Mm-hmm.
They did the same thing with the other quarterback. I forgot his name. We go back to the year that Tom Brady was hurt, and they still won 11 games. Had people thinking he was the
truth. Talk about Matt Castle?
Matt Castle. So I don't like using those analogies because y'all should never I can't 100%.
We should never try the Patriot way
because the Patriots fooled y'all. They fooled everybody.
Well,
they had us thinking Bill Belichick was a great coach and all this.
Speaking of 49ers fooling people, Brock Purdy has not signed his $48 million contract. Who told him? Who told him he was a superstar?
The media.
He worked more than Dak.
Hey, Dak contract got reduced because they reworked that contract.
I'm talking about the one that he originally got. Brock Purdy deserves that.
He was supposed to got the $60 million contract that got. Dak was supposed to get probably like $58 million. But at the end of the day, guess what? They reworking the contract. Why? You add more money to your cap space. You know that way. Cause guess what? Who you gotta resign? Michael Parsons. What else you gotta go get? You gotta go get a right guard. What else you gotta go get? You gotta go get a running back. What else you gotta go get? We got it's all on the offensive side. We got to get a lot of pieces on the offensive side, but mainly we got to get a running back, and a right guard.
I like Rico, but see, here's the thing: I like Rico.
I like Rico too. It's just the fact that who else was behind him?
Nobody.
That's the thing.
Yeah, so that falls on the scouting department because when you have a guy like Rico Dowdle who is explosive, who can catch out of the backfield, you got to have an ability to go out there and get a running back in the later rounds that's going to be productive. Now we're not just throwing picks out there and hoping that they land. No, you got to actually do your research and find somebody that fits your system. And coaches. They say they do that, but then when the season starts, we start looking like, yo, this guy don't really fit y'all. Like, what did you see?
He don't fit the scheme.
Yeah, and then if you go back and look at their tape, and then you know what this team is trying to do, and it doesn't make sense, that tells me that the real homework wasn't done.
Right. Now, so like with us, right? Eberflus is our defensive coordinator, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to figure out who was he before he became a head coach. We know he was not great as a head coach, but he's always been a good, decent defense DC. What team did he have as a DC when he was you know, when he was a DC. That's my whole question about that. Before he took that Chicago job. I was trying to figure that out.
Oh, he from Kansas City. He went. I'm pretty sure he was a Kansas City. I'm pretty sure his lineage is Kansas City.
He was the defensive coordinator for the Colts before he was the head coach.
Oh,
for the
yeah.
Bears.
Yeah.
And
So
before
he
that,
was-
he was the linebackers coach and passing
With the
game coordinator.
he was the Cowboys. I mean, he was with the Cowboys before.
He started his NFL coaching career as the linebackers coach for the Cleveland Browns in 2009. So
Was that with your boy?
He's had a lot of experience coaching defense, right?
Time out. We're not gonna do that because if we give what's the name this smoke? What's Graham, the old coach? If we give him this smoke, we got to give this coach that same smoke because he was on that
Talking about
stand.
Hugh Jackson.
If we give Hugh Jackson that smoke, we got to give him the same smoke because he was on that stand.
When he was with Cleveland, that was 2009, 2010.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
That was a while back. Before that was you talk about Hugh Jackson. That was what 2016 when they went They went.
I'm sorry.
16.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
He was with the Cowboys organization, so basically he came back to a familiar location because he did spend, I think, what it said, 5 years there, 6 years there as a linebackers coach, which is where most defensive coordinators get their start. If you can't coach the linebackers, you can't coach a whole defense.
Well,
I believe during that time the Cowboys played decent football and lost it in the playoffs due to the quarterback turning the ball over.
2011 to 2015, he was the linebacker coach for us. And let me see. Let me go into the conference.
Hey, hold on. How you be the linebacker coach and the passing game coordinator at the same time?
So we was 8-8 in 2011. I think we was whatever the year we went 8-8 3 times in a row, and that wasn't. And I think most of that wasn't even on the defense. That was on Jason Garrett.
Ooh, how y'all hate y'all own?
This supposed QB whisperer that they hired as the head coach to be the puppet for Jerry Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're gonna get off that because we know Doc spent 10 years on the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, hold on now. You spend the whole eternity on the Raiders.
Y'all not spending 106. You know what?
Raiders, do me a favor and please do not draft Matthew Golden.
That's what's gonna happen too. Mark gonna be just like that. We got to get that speed on the outside.
Got to get that speed.
If they don't draft Gentry, I'm gonna be upset.
Gentry won't be there.
You ain't got to. Why? You ain't got to pee on my parade. Because that means we'll be forced to take a quarterback.
Jackson Dart is your guy.
I like Jackson. I'm liking Jackson more and more.
If y'all want to win, look, the last 3 years, I have not been wrong.
I like that.
Since I've been on the podcast, leading up to the draft and going into the season, I have not been wrong about any quarterback.
I like Jackson. I'm not going to sit here in front like I don't like Jackson.
Jackson Dart is the best quarterback in this draft. He will be better than Cam, and he will be better than Shador.
Cam has little hands.
Oh, who are we talking about? We talking about the QBs?
Yeah, Cam Ward got little hands.
But
Cam Ward got little.
They don't care.
I understand, but people keep telling me little hands.
They don't.
Cautious draft position. Cautious draft position. But
if Raiders want to win, they better take Jackson Dart.
We gonna definitely
That
find
is
out.
the guy.
So I gotta ask the question because, like I said, Darius Slay put it out there, and I don't know if it's sour grapes going out the door, but he said Jalen Hurts is not an elite quarterback, and he gave a list. If you're not top 4, you're not elite.
I think what he meant was he's not an elite thrower of the football, because in the year 2025, when we look at the embodiment of a quarterback, it's more than throwing the ball. If we look at all of the tools that a QB would have outside of throwing the ball, like you have to be able to throw the ball. Like, I'm not saying that that's not important. And Jalen Hurts did enough to win a Super Bowl, to get to the Super Bowl twice. To me, he is elite for the fact that he's a winner. You got to use the tools that God gave you, right? We know Patrick Mahomes, he can throw from all these platforms and all this, but what ultimately got them to the Super Bowl was his ability to improvise and get out of the pocket.
I think we are in, what's great about being 52 is I live long enough to see people change their opinions on option quarterbacks. Because let's not get it confused. That's what they are. They're option quarterbacks. And we are now in that age where I told you so should be a thing. Because it's here now. The quarterbacks you didn't want 20 years ago, you want now.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely here.
Michael Vick would have been thriving in today's NFL.
Oh my God. Michael Vick would have threw for 1 million yards and ran for another 1 million.
Michael Vick would have obliterated Randall Cunningham's and Steve Young's rushing. He already did that. He did that already. He did that.
But now we're seeing teams actually build offenses to fit the quarterback. Go back and look at the Falcons. They didn't really build that offense to, use all of Michael Vick's talents. He had to escape and do that on his own. Receiver
that was Chris Chandler's offense. That's what that was. That was Chris Chandler's offense. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the Falcons?
Yeah.
Who was the offensive coordinator at the time?
Oh man, I don't remember who the offensive coordinator was, but the head coach was Shanahan.
Yep.
For you talking about which Falcons team we talking about?
02, 03,
I think
04.
the first one. Hold on.
Oh, Dan Reeves was the head coach.
You're right. It was Dan Reeves. That's Dan Reeves' offense because they was still running that zone, that zone blocking system that they ran in Denver.
Yeah, and it worked really well for Warwick Duncan. But Dan Reeves was a running back. As a matter of fact, he was a fullback in the NFL.
He was a fullback, and they switched over to running back.
Yep, he was a
fullback for Dallas, wasn't he?
He was a running back for Dallas.
In Green Bay. So he already didn't really know how to use a quarterback. He's gonna run his own read or his stretch runs, zone blocking scheme, and we're gonna play action and get the ball down the field off of that. That was their philosophy. That's what got them to the Super Bowl, but they had to play a real team against Denver, and it didn't work. And they had already ran Jamal Anderson into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You gave that man 425 carries that year. You thought he had something left in the tank come Super Bowl?
Nope.
Maybe should have danced a little less. I don't know. But, looking at today's NFL, like we said, the embodiment of what it takes to be a quarterback is more than just throwing the ball. I get it. Joe Burrow has a cannon. He's accurate. He can do all those things. They didn't make the playoffs this year.
They had a chance to make the playoffs though.
Should I start with the Joe Burrow slander because
this ain't slander. First of all, this ain't slander. What
I'm
I'm
coming with the
saying,
slander. I'm coming with the slander.
I mean, there's no need for slander. He led the NFL in touchdowns. He led the league in yards. He did all these things throwing the ball. He showed us that he was probably the best at throwing the football this year. He showed us that. But what it didn't translate was into wins, because your quarterback has to be able to do more than that. That's what I'm saying. Because Josh Allen can run. He can run. He can break tackles. He can do these extra things. Lamar Jackson can run. He can do these extra things. Jalen Hurts, he can run. He can pass. He can do these extra things. Do you see where I'm going with this? Most of the quarterbacks in the playoffs were guys that could make plays with their legs as well as their arm.
Joe Burrow is a quarterback after his time. This is not his era of football. He belonged in the Joe Montana, Steve Young era of football.
He would have broke every record. He would have broke every record.
I definitely, if he was with a Sam Weiss or with Bill Walsh,
he couldn't have played back then. They touched the quarterback. It's a big difference.
Joe Burrow ain't no small guy now, Marlo. He's 6'3", 225. He ain't no small dude.
Mm-hmm. But you seen what they did to big quarterbacks back then. It wasn't friendly.
I don't know, man. I just feel like he would have broke every record if he played back then. But I don't think he would have been necessarily in Bill Walsh's offense, they actually asked their quarterbacks to tone it down. They held Joe Montana back, honestly. If we really being honest about it. West Coast offense is not meant to throw the ball vertically 20 times a game.
West Coast offense was basically an extension of the running game.
Exactly.
Yeah. Throwing slats, outs, check downs, wheel routes.
Take Joe Montana and put him in Cincinnati or in San Diego. In those
back in the day?
Yeah, back in the I'm talking about
if you put him out, I'm just saying like this. If you would have put him on the Cincinnati Bengals back in the 80s.
The one that went to the Super Bowl,
went to the Super Bowl.
Boomer Esias's Bengals. Put him on there.
He wins the Super Bowl.
He wins the Super Bowl.
Back when Dan Fouts was setting standards.
Because they had a running game. They had a running game.
You put him in the Eric Coryell offense. Oh, he would easily.
Look. Put him in that run and shoot that Warren Moon ran.
He would have 10 million yards.
He would easily. And you put him with you bring him over there and just add Jerry Rice to it. And a Roger Craig. Just to that offense.
Now we cheat. So you saying
you cheat? Yeah, you cheat now.
With Roger Craig in the backfield? That sounds like a Madden Mutt team.
Roger Craig would have had 1,500 yards coming out of the backfield, running, and then another 1,200 yards receiving, and then Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice probably had about 2,000 yards just from catching a damn ball.
Y'all was in disbelief when Roger Craig ran for 1,000 and caught for 1,000. You put him in a run and shoot. In the run and shoot. Oh my God. Oh my God.
You put Joe Montana in a run and shoot offense. You put him in an Atlanta run and shoot offense. Take Chris Chandler, Billy Joe Tolliver, take all them other Bobby Hebert, you know what I'm saying? Take them QBs out and you put Joe Montana in that run and shoot offense right there. With a Roger Craig, and then you put him with a Jerry Rice. Andre Rison is going to go one-on-one with somebody DB, and he's going to cook him. Terrence Mathis is like they didn't even call it the slot. It was the inside receiver right there. He will destroy a linebacker because he had the speed. And we already know Jerry Rice is pretty much. They're going to try to double team and triple team, and guess what? He's still going to catch the ball. You can't catch him in the open field. You can't catch him in the open field. You know who? Hold hold on,
I'm about to
TP.
give you a dilemma.
But hold on. Let's stop. I'm gonna be honest with you. I hated the 49ers. I hated the 49ers back, because it's you call it a natural rivalry with the Cowboys and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Who ran the 80s, who ran the 90s, right? Let's stop. Y'all need to stop people need to stop disrespecting right after Roger Craig. They need to stop disrespecting Ricky Waters, what he did with the damn 49ers team.
I like Ricky Waters.
No, I'm just saying there's a lot of people that don't give that man his credit.
His career just wasn't long enough.
But
he
still got over 10,000 yards rushing.
I just want to put this out there. He had
But
a
what I'm saying
fullback
is,
from Florida State.
But what I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying though, TP. He was in the same mode, he had the same build, the same mode as Roger Craig. Like when you look at him coming out of the backfield, I'm looking at y'all know Roger Craig. Roger Craig
That's how he patterned his game though. He told everybody.
Them damn knees is high stepping, right? Kicking the knees, they knee you in your chin. If you down low enough, you try to tackle him. Ricky Waters is the same way. But I think Ricky was a better running back.
Ricky was faster and he had more shift.
Yeah.
Remember, Roger Craig was a fullback at Nebraska.
Yeah, because he
forget that
came out of the triple option I offense.
I don't think it's fair to just call him a fullback because of the way that offense was modeled.
Oh no, they called it an I back.
Yeah,
it wasn't called a fullback. It was an I back.
It's not the same as like the fullbacks they use for like the Navy and Army offense.
No, we talk about you talk about like what position Lauren Phillips ran, Amon Green, Thunder Collins.
Because they wasn't always just 2 yards behind the quarterback. They would bag up. It was still a triple option, but they wouldn't necessarily always be in the 3-point stands. And if they did, it was kind of like a tell that it was going to be a short yardage play. Mm-hmm. And that was something that they had to develop throughout the years. But he wasn't a true fullback because fullbacks blocked back then. He wasn't doing a lot of just lead blocking where you bring a running back behind him and now it's a dive play. It was a lot of misdirection. We're going to give it to you and let you hit. We might pull a guard, let you get in there on a trap type play, that type of situation. But he was a great athlete and he could do it all. Catch, run, block. He was great in pass protection on third downs. He was somebody that could be on the field the whole game.
And again, like that Lou Holtz offense at Notre Dame was a similar situation because Ricky Waters at Notre Dame.
And he came in, he was in the same, he was right there with
Jerome Bettis.
Jerome Bettis. Yeah, Hold
on. No, Jerome Bettis was a freshman.
Jerome Bettis was after Ricky Waters.
Yeah.
He was coming in after Tim Brown. Brown. We talking about it was him.
It was him and Rocket.
Yeah, Rocket Ishmael. And they didn't care who was the quarterback was.
It would be remiss of me not to mention that Tony Rice won Notre Dame a national championship.
And they gave that man no type of respect.
Sounds like the University of Florida, don't it? But I'm gonna move on.
Hey, you giving them boot skins some grace?
Chris Lee. When he left, he was the best quarterback in the SEC when he left. Nothing.
Yeah, but he was playing for Florida.
They put hands and feet on Ohio State, which is why I still will never respect Ohio State because of that game. But we're gonna take
what? I think that was I think that was when the Big Ten changed. Look, Cap, you know what I'm saying? I love the history of the sport, and I've been watching for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And before Troy Smith got his ass whooped by them Gators, the Big Ten was soft. Outside of like Wisconsin, who was known for running the ball.
Wait a minute. Let's not talk about him getting whooped by the Florida Gators. Remember, he got whooped early in the season by the damn Texas Longhorns.
That's Big 12 football back then, though. We talk about.
But still, though,
I'm talking about Big 10. Look. This is specifically for the Big 10. We saw a shift after that year to more dominance inside the trenches because they saw if we get to that big stage, we can't look like that. As a unit, the Big 10 looked bad. Mm-hmm. Ohio State made them look so bad they changed their whole recruiting scheme.
They had to, but we're gonna take a big break, quick break. You know, we'll do this one. We'll do this one. As this was unfolding onto the internet, because I thought this was some kind of hoax. As it was unfolding, it turned out to be real. A gentleman, we're gonna call him Matt, responded to a Steve Smith post of him golfing by saying, "Does your wife and kids know you're sleeping with my wife?" He then proceeds to post screenshots of text messages between him and who we assume is his wife. These text messages are quite graphic and quite embarrassing if you are said spouse. Because again, in the era of Twitter, there is no shame. Some key issues that Marlo might want to discuss is the quote,
I'll get it.
"You was so deep, you moved my IUD."
That sounds about right.
So
obviously, she's used to dealing with a short knocker, and he was not. he didn't have the proper equipment. First of all, this is my whole problem with the whole thing. Why, as a man,
run away.
As a man, why would you call another man and record it just to put it on the internet that you recorded talking to him? That he had then dug a pothole in your wife.
He done dug out a pothole in his damn Marlo.
that was the clean. That was the clean one. The tic tac down the hallway. You know.
My bad.
So before we go on to this other topic, I want to say thank you to Bethune-Cookman. They're allowing us to come to Daytona on Saturday to watch the Florida A&M game. So we'll be covering that this weekend. Man.
Ice up, son.
Oh man.
I'm just gonna say I'm gonna be on my best behavior as far as I can be going there. But they making it real hard. Cause now
Marlo's not going as a member of Fat Mouth Sports. He's going as a fan of Florida A&M who hates that school on the beach. Who decides to just alienate a whole fan base and call them what we call them Mary's kids?
them little kitty cats.
Well,
Kitty cats in the hood.
Anyway, I would like to say thank you again ahead of time because I don't know how this weekend is going to end. So I would say thank you first before we get banned. So shout out to their SID. So
I've
again,
been banned from worst.
I keep trying to move on.
I just now
Keep trying.
realized that there's sweat basketball on men's and women's tonight and on Saturday.
Yeah. Yes. It's
Shout out
come
to
down to the wires.
shout out to Valley for beating Alcorn again. Women's. They swept them. Oh my God.
You know what is wild is like I had interviewed every coach at Sweat Media Day, and Alcorn's coach and Valley's coach are very personable guys. Like Valley's coach is like just a very down home guy. Listen, we just need people at the games. Like real down home guy, straightforward, straight shooter. Love that guy. I hope everybody is back at SWAC Media Day next year. I'm gonna say that. But that being said, so I saw a story today, and I wasn't sure what was going on. So I kind of like to do research. UAPB is playing Westgate Christian.
They're not called UAPB. They're called the University of Stealing Playbooks.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that today. Anyway, so
I'm gonna do it.
They are
put 9 names in their mouth.
They are playing Westgate Christian, who apparently has been labeled a diploma mill. They are not I think the NCAA put them on. Wait, wasn't this the school? Wasn't this the school that like had the doctorate program, but people couldn't call themselves doctors? Is that the school? Is that the same school? Oh yeah. Yeah, you go to school 4 years, get your degree, and it ain't legit. They're not accredited. It's wild. And I looked at some of the scores from previous years.
That sounds like that little boy that was down there in Florida. He was old doctor when he was like 17.
Oh man. I don't know. Like, Doc, explain as best you can. Explain to me, how does this happen?
So schools like this school we're talking about, Lincoln University of California, and everybody side checking HBCU football, the Virginia University of Lynchburg. They're like, so basically they're not recognized by NCAA or NAIA or those organizations right there. And it's a non-countable game. So basically, you're just paying them for fun. You're paying them to come to your spot to play them so you can beat the shit out of them and send them on back battered and bruised. But they got a little payday in their pocket. You're paying for them to come down there, but you're also paying for them. You're paying for just for the football team. They ain't got no cheerleaders, no band, or nothing like that. They're gonna house them for like one day, whoop their ass on a Saturday, and send them on back their merry way that same night. And basically, with this Westgate Christian team, they're pretty much playing them for homecoming, because that's what to me, that's what it looks like. It looks like it's their homecoming game. So Blue, who is very adamant about HBCUs playing these teams like that, doesn't want them to play. They don't want to play them. So Westgate Christian University, equipping you in Christian values. We are a Christian institution of higher learning where you provide a range of degree programs in biblical theology from an associate's degree to a doctorate of theology. Additionally, we offer concentrations and certificates in biblical counseling. So, athletics. I'm clicking on that athletics thing. This is the WCU Ravens football tryouts. So this, yo, I'm not lying.
Take your time, Reverend. Take your time, Reverend.
I'm looking at their website. I'm looking at their website. TP, you're not gonna believe this. They straight out of Houston.
Man,
they are straight out of Houston, Texas.
Is that a good thing?
It ain't a great thing either. So they are so this is like a Bible church school type thing right here. Like almost a seminary type thing. I guess they're starting up a football program because they're having tryouts, right? And basically they got a QR code where you can register. In fact, they have football tryouts this week on Saturday. Ain't that's the 8th, right? No, the 8th is, yeah, that's the 8th, right? On Saturday. So they'll give you your height and weight, 40-yard dash, your 4-2-5 shoulder run, position specific drills, one-on-one drills, non-contact, O-line versus D-line, running back, tight end, QB versus linebacker, DB, defensive specialist, long snap, kick, punt, and workout. So, this workout, see, yeah, cleats and extra clothes for cold weather. It's supposed to be cool out there. Let's see who's on his staff.
You giving them a whole bunch of credit. You giving them a whole bunch of credit.
I ain't giving them a whole bunch of credit. Ed Ramirez is the head football coach. Has over 30 years of coaching and teaching experience. That's it. Like, we don't know where he coached at or what school he went to. James Moore, offensive coordinator, QB coach. I even got a photo up here. Josh Moore, defensive line coach, defensive coordinator. Fred Bowden, DB's assistant string coach. They ain't got a picture right there. Chase Washington, running backs coach. They ain't got no picture right there. Yeah, so
yeah, I can't find nothing on this guy. Southwest Shipyard is the only thing I got. I'm not gonna bash this guy. I'm not gonna bash the school. I just don't think our institutions should be playing such an institution just for an easy win. Because it ain't good for those kids over there, and it ain't good for UAPB. Because if you get a key player injured before a SWAC conference play, was it worth it? That's all I'm gonna say. Wow. I hope I'm saying this right. Miss Hemphill said that y'all are up by 4 on UAPB.
She in Arkansas. She live in Arkansas, so she at Pine Bluff right now. She
Okay.
at the game.
But so there was that, right? And then something else that I had to find interesting. Wait, real quick. FAMU alum, booster, NIL executive, Ash Love Sports, happy birthday. You're doing great work. Forgot to shout you out earlier in the podcast, and I'm getting you now. You're doing great work. We will get you back on the podcast because anybody that got an HBCU NIL is doing God's work. So there was that. And then the other story of the day, some people say they're doing it to avoid getting boycotted, but Amazon is the sponsor of the Magic City Classic. I'm seeing different details. It looks like Alabama A&M will get $1 million when they're the home team, and then $300,000 when they're not the home team. I don't know what Alabama State gets, so I couldn't get I couldn't get any logical or reasonable information on that.
The person you need to talk to about that will be Nick.
Yeah, Nick was live when I found out, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit him up, see if he can come on Tuesday's podcast so we can talk about it. But if, and I want to make sure because it wasn't clear, if the $1 million is yearly, it is a win. So in other words,
I'll be like, you Amazon, they can raise that to give me $2-3 million right there. 5. Hell, your ex-wife. We talk about Bezos, who's a Trump supporter, right? Your ex-wife be shelling out them things to HBCUs. Am I lying or not?
You're not.
She'll be, and just don't really think about it. Y'all forget, she's a billionaire too.
It's Jeff a short knocker.
All from him. Because she had a hand in this thing starting out too with that company. When they got divorced, guess what? She just ain't gonna be sitting. She has a heart. She has a conscience. She just wasn't gonna be sitting at home talking about I'm gonna get billions and billions and billions. Well, I'm just gonna, and give money to schools that really need it. And she been giving money to HBCUs. Especially, Prairie View is her favorite school that she want to give money to. She done gave Prairie View about a good 20 mil.
I want to be messy so bad, but I'm going to
let's be messy.
Because I'm going to deny my inner messy, and I'm gonna keep moving on because otherwise we'll be down the rabbit hole. So, Carson Vinson.
No, but that'll be too late if we go down that rabbit hole. We've been down the rabbit hole about 4 or 5 times today.
Carson Vinson from Alabama A&M, mountain of a man, should be. I don't know if he's a 3rd or 4th round draft pick, but he should be one of those two. At worst, a 5th. He got the measurables. He got the tape. He got the postseason All-Star Bowls. Like, what are we talking about? Because he didn't transfer up. That's a red flag. I tell you what. what you do is you do something stupid like don't draft this man. And if he ends up at the Raiders as an undrafted free agent, I'm going to talk it messed into. All 32 teams, if you pass up on this dude, you deserve everything. Everything you get. But I'm trying to think. Don't UAPB got that kid that was scoring 31 points a game for like the first 3 games of the year? Did he get injured?
I don't know, but they trash right now. We whooping their ass right now.
Well, they wasn't winning with him. And, that was they wasn't winning with him. And I think part of the problem was that he hasn't gelled with his teammates and or they're just not on his level. But I digress. My sleeper draft pick that really ain't no sleeper. Jackson Dart is going to be a top probably 4 pick.
If I'm the Raiders, that's who you go get. You either get Shador or Jackson Dart.
Listen, he got to fall to us. Because anytime the Raiders go get, we say we not mortgaging no more future. We've mortgaged enough future with Chucky and with the dude who can't coach 2 times in a row. We just no more mortgage in the future. Get these draft picks. Let's set ourselves up for the next 10 years to win. Clearly, the Chiefs are on a decline, and we need to strike while the iron is hot.
You think the Chiefs on the decline?
Right now, they ain't got no offensive line. And if we get one more defensive lineman, and for the love of God, if you don't do nothing else with that second-round draft pick, get a linebacker from the SEC. For the love of God. I am sick and tired of watching teams just run down the field. We can't pass rush because we can't stop nobody from running the football. And I got to tell the truth about El Diablo. He need to be playing safety. He don't need to be playing linebacker. He ain't got enough bricks in his pocket. He looked like one of them Buccaneer linebackers.
Dang, Marlo, that's a shot to your team.
You gonna keep the Buccaneers out your mouth. You have Hall of Famers, sir.
But that's what need to happen. That's for my Raiders. Now, I don't know how TP feel about his Texans, but I feel like his Texans need another wide receiver.
Well,
Maybe get DK. Maybe get DK.
We get DK, we going to the Super Bowl and we're going to win.
Well, the Jaguars traded Christian Kirk to y'all, so.
I thought they was going to release him.
I don't care. I still want DK. We didn't know that DK was an option when we made the trade. We ain't give up nothing for him anyway.
And
what's the reason DK don't want to be in Seattle no more?
They're getting rid of pieces.
That's what happens when you have an older team.
They're not really an older team though.
What I'm saying when he got drafted by Seattle at the time.
Yeah. What's the name was already there?
I think they are currently in a rebuild. Clearly what they've tried to do the past couple of years hasn't worked. With Geno and everything, like they're sputtering, and he's trying to get off of a sinking ship because he doesn't think that the organization has done enough to be better than they were last year, and last year wasn't good enough. Albeit they won 10 games, but they missed the playoffs.
So, DK TP, I'm about to I'm not trying to trigger you, but I want to pick your brain because I know you. DK is not the best route runner.
Doesn't have to be.
Okay, I know how you don't like guys who don't run routes well. And DK is more of a throw it up to me type guy.
What I do like is 6'3", 235-pound wide receivers that can block and catch in traffic.
I'm just because I've seen you crash out. Now, what about
so here's the thing about being a good route runner, right? Not all receivers that are able to get open actually run good routes. Honestly, it's about finding the spot in the defense, which doesn't take elite route running. And if you're going against a zone type defense, the route running isn't going to help you that much.
Nope.
But if you have somebody that can get positional advantage over players, and CJ Stroud is one of those guys where he can put the ball in very tight windows. And if you're a big receiver, you don't need much room. So with Stroud, it'll be a match made in heaven, honestly. Because if you look at Nico Collins isn't an elite route runner, but he's where he needs to be.
He can stretch the field.
He can stretch the field. He has the speed, which DK also has. But he can be where the quarterback needs him to be, and he's a big target. So that gives you room for error.
So another wide receiver that's available is Cooper Kupp.
He's a do-it-all wide receiver.
This is one of the few times you're gonna hear me say in a negative aspect that he's a system guy.
Finally, somebody's telling the truth.
He's a system guy.
He's a Sean McVay guy.
He's a Sean McVay guy. He's a system guy. He's not gonna work in every system. He can't stretch the field. He has very good route running, great hands, but I honestly think he can be productive on any team he goes to. It's just the fact that he's not going to be triple crown type production anywhere else he goes. He won't ever do that again.
You know how long
that was the Cooper year. It was a great year. Not gonna take nothing away from the man. He had an outstanding season. He cooked everybody they put in front of him. The Buccaneers were foolishly enough left nobody over top and let him kick them right out of the playoffs. You know, but that's some years ago. You know, fast forward to now, the triple crown will never happen again.
I feel vindicated. The boys are spiking.
Yeah, they throwing hands. I hear, grunt.
This is real life, people. We do real life on this show. But no,
train the child in the way you want them to go, and they should never depart from it.
You better teach your kids to be kind, because I teach mine to swing. I keep telling you that. Hey, I'm waiting for the 3-year-old to get him a win.
They scrapping. They scrapping. That's mine. All you got here is spot.
I think the fight was over a banana. I can't be. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna do more research when the podcast is over, and then I'll find out who won as well.
But no, I for a very long time I had been screaming from the mountaintops that Cooper Cup was not the wide receiver everybody was purporting him to be. There were more talented wide receivers, but the system made him that much more. So that's why now that we are here at this point and the Rams are like, you can go wherever you want to, pretty much validated what I had been saying for a very long time. Also, Puka Nakua, hope I'm saying his name right, is the
Puka.
same guy. Yeah, Puka is the same guy. A little bit bigger, a little bit more physical, but basically the same guy.
He's a Cooper Cup. He's a Cooper Cup clone.
Puka actually catches a lot more passes in traffic. I give him the advantage when on those 50-50 balls. Like I was talking about earlier, getting a positional advantage over the DB. He does an outstanding job at that, and he has great hands. Not the fastest, not the biggest, but he knows how to use, the gifts that God gave him. But Matthew Stafford is washed. That was done. We
So
saw
that's
it.
the reason why he ain't going nowhere. He knew he knew that there was nothing out there for him. Like seriously, because y'all gotta remember, Matthew Stafford he's for the longest. He's never had to experience going into free agency as a, what I'm saying, kind of like a coveted free agent, right? He spent
he got traded.
He got traded, but he didn't want to get traded. He got traded because the Rams traded Michael Brockers, who I bet before got a picture with him too. He got traded because Michael Brockers ran his mouth about the Rams organization giving him more money. And the Rams was like, "Oh, really? All right, you go to the depths of hell in Detroit."
And we ain't heard from Michael Brocker since.
He ain't heard from Michael Brocker since. He retired like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So even the crazy thing is Brock he ain't get to experience this renaissance change in Detroit with the football team. He got there right before in fact, he wasn't even traded. It wasn't really that we traded him, but he was just a piece to it.
Yeah.
It was Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford.
And I tell you what, Detroit wasn't even sold. Like Dan Campbell wasn't sold on Jared Goff at first.
At first, because he felt like he was a system quarterback. He was a McVay quarterback. He really was a McVay quarterback.
He benefits from having the best run game in the league. That's honestly what it is. But the things that we see from Jared Goff this year is reminiscent of what he was doing when he was in LA with Todd Gurley. When he doesn't have a run game, he looks very average at QB. Very average. And when teams key on stopping Detroit's run game, they have a good chance of beating them. When they play my Texans, there's nobody run on my Texans. Ain't nobody run on us all year. But I tell you what, we made Jared Goff look real average. He threw 5 interceptions that game. Our offense just didn't do enough to win the game.
I'm about to say that was the game that they won when he threw the 5 interceptions, right?
Yeah, he threw 5 interceptions. We made him look very average out there because we took away their ability to run the ball early in the game. The longer the game went on, Gibbs eventually broke a couple long ones, but it wasn't like consistent.
I'm sorry. I need Sangoon to give me 9 more points so he can hit on my underdog. I need Ben Carroll to give me 7 more points so he can hit on my underdog. Oh yeah, the Lady Tigers won. JSU Women's Tigers, we won. We lock up the We'll probably lock up the 2 seed.
2 seed, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we made a lot of noise and hoopla about Michael Vick going to Norfolk State. And apparently there are concerns that he is not wearing Norfolk State gear when he's out and about. Apparently there are rumors that he has, and this is from what I'm hearing, he has been on several outlets not wearing green and gold or not wearing branded Norfolk State gear. If Norfolk State is a stopgap or a stop along the way, whatever the next stop is, isn't that a red flag? Because I'm sorry, Cozy isn't just James Cozy III. He's James Cozy, head coach of Florida A&M. Mike Norvell isn't just Mike Old Cornrows Norvell. He's Mike Old Cornrows Norvell, head coach of Florida State, that Troy is trying to like. That's who he is. It's not just, Eddie Robinson Jr. It's Eddie Robinson Jr., head of Alabama State. Am I wrong in thinking that's an issue for a dude that's getting $500,000 a year? And I don't know him to pocket watch, but I think branding the university has got to be part of that deal, right?
It depends because, I remember when Dion was the head coach of Jackson State. Most of the time you see him in Jackson State gear, but it was a time where he was just saying he was probably in Bucky's, wearing something from Bucky's clothing line, which basically is all about him. But you get what I'm saying, though.
What we don't want, and it's no disrespect to Prime, what we don't want is to build up a coach and then there is the fallout. I'm going to say it that way. I want him to be good for Norfolk State. And it just could be something as simple as, man, I got gear coming in. It just ain't ready yet. It could be as simple as that. Because remember, he got hired on a whirlwind. It was a rumor on Monday, and on Wednesday he was hired. So it may be one of those deals. I will say, though, Deshaun Jackson put together an Easter outfit and been wearing nothing but them colors ever since. So now I just need him to finish out his staff so we can kind of look and start doing some guesstimates of what they're going to look like. Because in my perfect world, they would be third in the MEAC next year. In a perfect world. And it would have to be a very, very perfect world. Because wow. I don't know if y'all see the comments. But I don't.
She is having a ball at the game right now.
That's what you want fans to do. Go to the opposing teams. If you're not media, you go to the opposing team's gym and you have a ball. Hey, Emmett, listen. If he wasn't at Valley, I would like that pickup too. Please understand, T-Buck is a no, and he ain't just a no. He's a great no.
He's a Mississippi great too.
Pascagoula. If you was not alive to hear Bobby and Gene Deckerhoff say Pascagoula, you missed it. It was a time. It was definitely a time. But no, that I just want them to be anything but dead last in the East. I can't necessarily root for them to win the East as a fan. As a media person, it's an interesting story. But we also don't want to put too much pressure on him because he's going to need time to build that program up. Because that program went through a whole bunch. But since we in football mode, North Carolina Central lost a lot of pieces on their coaching staff.
Yep.
And my concern with NCCU last year is the same one I'm gonna have this year. They quarterback. And I was told not to worry about their quarterback. Then they went down to the Orange Blossom Classic and had a Troy Madden off to see who can run the ball more times. Now I think Alabama State lost, 2 of their quarterbacks and ended the season with a converted wide receiver as quarterback.
Yep.
And North Carolina Central.
They was on a 5th string quarterback.
And North Carolina Central essentially could not throw the ball effectively down the stretch of the season, which cost them the MEAC. And if I'm wrong, if my memory is blurry, please let me know. But the South Carolina State game, South Carolina State was able to convert 3rd downs with Mr. Phoenix. But it's going. Who you got coming out the MEAC next year? Way too early prediction. Way too early.
My way too early prediction
Norfolk State.
You say Norfolk State?
Norfolk
He
State.
came out swinging.
I'm gonna go between South Carolina State and Norfolk State. And
I don't think we should sleep on Delaware. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. But at the same time, I don't think they should be slept on. You know, just based on the level of recruiting they've been able to do since bringing in Deshaun.
There's a coach over there in Howard University in DC said y'all is disrespecting his name. Like,
I'm about to go there. I'm about to say that. I'm about to say Howard.
Y'all is disrespecting me. Like, they looking at it like, Negro, we won the conference 2 years ago.
Listen, it is.
What that mean?
What's going on, Jared?
What's
Listen.
up, Jerry?
What that mean?
Hey, man, yeah, I'm just saying.
But to be fair,
and they bring back Eaton James.
To be fair, it ain't us that's trolling their offensive coordinator. It's the alums
It's the alums that's
trolling their offensive coordinator.
Right.
But I feel like based on the losses that teams have and what Howard is bringing back, they got a good shot to win it too. Just that probably is my first pick. Like, way too early until we see some offseason moves after spring game. Howard is my pick.
And I would give Morgan State a good shout out, but at the same time,
not Morgan
I
State.
can't do it.
They lost a lot. They lost a lot of pieces on defense, And I'm still trying to figure out why Banks lied to me, talking about the truth is coming to them as a quarterback. That Negro lied to all of us.
Him and
Morgan,
listen, him and
Morgan
Lionel.
State might not win more than 5 games.
Wow.
I'm just.
We already know Marlo got issue with Morgan State.
They might not win.
Marlo, remind the folks, what is your issue with the Cocaine Bears in Baltimore?
Because some of them bitches think that they are elite when they can't spell it. So
They
we
can't
just
spell elite.
Again, at Fat Mouth Sports, we spare no effort to alienate any and every fan base. It just so happens to be yours today.
yeah, they better understand where before they put the mighty Rattler's name in their mouth. They need to understand some things.
You done? You got it all out.
19-time champion.
You heard it. You know what time
Hold
it is.
on. It's 17 national championships. Let's
not lie. Y'all
correct.
been playing half of them because y'all was in the Orange Blossom.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh,
Here we go. Here we go.
Hey, Jackson State goes.
Here we go. Here we go.
No lie to you. We got look.
Ain't nobody listen. No,
We got
listen.
4 on the
All
thing.
this
We got 4
Jackson
national
State-
championships.
Did you just say 4? Did you just
We
say
got 4
4?
national championships.
Oh no, I'm saying all of this. Again, this is why
You talking
I
about
tell people
y'all.
this all the time. All this,
We
We talking about practice.
all of this, all of
We talking
this.
about practice.
I'm gonna say this. I ain't never heard nobody say they ain't want to hang out with a rapper. Never heard it. Ain't never been the thing. That being said, we're gonna jump.
Marlo and my
what we're
cousin
doing.
are
That's what we're doing.
probably the only rappers I would hang out with.
Yes, sir.
Cause Marlon gonna keep me laughing, and my cousin is my blood cousin. So, shout out to my cousin.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all
Hey,
something about
Jared, that's
Rattler
my cousin
Nation.
right
A
there
lot of
too. I
people-
forgot.
Rattler Nation is beautiful people. And to be honest, most HBCU people are wonderful people. Mike ain't one of them. But most people, Miak is cool. He's just hilarious sometimes. But what I learned through this new journey of the podcast is that I get along with a lot of different people and a lot of different fan bases. And it's a lot of people in a lot of different fan bases that I cannot stand. But that's just me. Like you're not gonna be hot and cold with me. You're not gonna be in the middle of the road with me. You either really gonna like me or you ain't gonna fuck with me. I'm just one of those type people. So, but on Tuesday nights, we have this wonderful podcast called the Madness Basketball Podcast. I'm gonna run this little promo. It'll give you some insight on Marlo. Here we go.
Still to
What the
me,
hell is that on the screen? That should say BCU donation fund.
We're going around the whole sweat, Marlo. The whole
Why in the fuck is it under my picture? What in the hell just happened? My bad, y'all. I
tell you what, Marlo will never hesitate to alienate a whole fan base. Why?
So Marlo,
my picture.
and I mean it.
hold on, Marlo. I'm gonna give you the opportunity. Is there anything you want to say to Wildcat Nation while we're on the podcast?
Yep. They might want to check on their accreditation status because they act like they don't know administrate right. I don't know why them people looking at them again. They just got through this. First of all, I'm just gonna say it like this: if you decide to send your child to that institution, you need to blame yourself. Cause I done told you how I feel about it. You just don't want to listen to me. So you get what you get. That's all.
So the vision that I had was that Marla would say something kind. I ain't say endearing, just something kind to level the promo that y'all just saw.
Their
Marlo,
school, their school is in Daytona.
Marlo,
Yes, sir.
how many years has it been since you graduated from FAMU?
Uh, a lot over almost
And when
20.
you walk your, and when you step foot on campus at Florida A&M, your natural hatred for Bethune Cookman just came out, right?
It boiled over.
It
It,
boiled over,
yeah,
and you was like, "Why would I even dream about going to that school on the beach?"
absolutely. It was definitely, yeah. Hmm.
So I just would like to say that I am a fan of AD Theus and Coach Theus. Um, as a member of the media, we love and respect all the institutions of the
I'm a
SWAC.
fan. Don't be trying to shut me up. I'm a fan of his when he was playing basketball. When he chose to get hired there,
You
yeah,
better stop.
fuck him.
The Chicago Jerry
I
Curl
want to
gonna
say this is not how
be
we act
dry.
normally. I want to say this is not how we normally act. I really do. I want to say that so bad. Unfortunately, that would be a lie. But again, I am not above criticism because there are compelling boot skin stories that we could have covered and even asked for media credentials to cover said boot skins.
You know, I would hate you if you go to that damn school in Gainesville.
I
And that's
just
coming from that's me coming from being a Volunteers fan.
I just
I'm
I
be like Marlo.
couldn't. Here's the
Fuck
bad part. I used to work there and they used to give me boot skin health t-shirts and polos, and I don't work there no more. I can say it now. I used to give it a Goodwill. Every time they gave me a shirt, I'd give it a Goodwill.
I don't know what them people at Goodwill did to you. They did not ask for that shit. They was
I'm just
just doing fine, getting stuff that was slightly used. You can bringing them some new, unworn bullshit. What's with you?
Some new bullshit.
but
Hey,
again,
you know when somebody give you advice and you didn't ask for it? That's what you did.
That's
Nobody
Marlo.
asked for that. It was unwarranted.
so I am not above criticism when it comes to my allegiance to Florida State. Because again, I will say this respectfully. Fuck Tim Tebow. Fuck Ed McCaffrey. Fuck Steve Spurrier. Fuck Chris Leak. I'm gonna try and interview you one day, but still fuck you. Fuck the tuba player. Fuck the
Chris Leak
single
is
chair
a,
flute
is a
player.
gator. Chris Leak is a gator that I can fuck with because his daughter and my daughter play golf together on the same team. He's cool people.
Again, Unfortunately, he got treated terribly by that school in Gainesville, but he's still a boot skin. So
You know why they treated him terribly in Florida? Those 3 years before Tim Tebow came there,
they won a national championship.
they ain't want him there.
No,
They ain't want him there. He was a Ron Zook guy. They ain't want him there.
oh my God. I guess we will take a brief moment and understand why nobody should ever hire an Ibis. Ed Reed is the reason you should never hire Ibis. I have not heard of one good Ibis coach yet. Ain't seen it.
Cristobal.
Not now. Yeah, that's the best. You know what? You know what you get with Cristobal? A Pop-Tart. That's what you get. You don't get a national championship. You get a Pop-Tart. If you want a breakfast, meal, you hire Ibis. If you want to win something, hire anybody else. Anybody else. Because how you get fired before you get hired on your day off and then go on the cry campaign. But I understand because earlier this year, the playmaker was tooting it up for national TV. So Ed Reed crying after he get fired makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. Y'all don't know how to act down there.
Leave
But
the playmaker alone.
No, we're not gonna do this because he ain't had no business tooting it up on national TV. I don't know what's going on.
He was tooting up when he was playing, so shit.
So
got 3 Super Bowls and a Hall of Fame ring.
Listen, Ibis players, they play well. They do. They play well. You can't take that from them. I still say, and I'm gonna stand on this: the greatest safety in the history of the NFL is still Ronnie Lott. I said what I said, but we what did I say wrong? What did I say so wrong?
Talking about the damn right here.
This piece of bed frame is blocking it, but I second that notion. As a matter of fact, let me slide it out the way for the people at home. Let's see. We're doing some construction. Gotta move it out there. Oh, I ain't gonna be able to move it. Nope.
You good?
Think you can see it?
Running a lot.
Think you can see it?
A throwback running lot.
Yeah, Ronnie Lott is the greatest to ever do it. And I got two of them. I got 2 guys that are in that top 5 class with him right next to him. If you don't see him.
Oh yeah.
Steve
Atwater.
Do I need to move? Yeah.
No, we see Steve Atwater and Taylor. I'm not gonna disrespect the dead man, but I see your setup.
The Nigerian nightmare ended when he met number 27. That's all I got to say.
But
they woke up.
And that other Ibis who got taken away too soon.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did. I cried that day. He was my favorite player in any sport. Had been that from college.
Well, I know we may run a little long, and I apologize for that. This week, it's been so much going on this week, right? And we are in that era of time where, like, absolutely everything makes no sense. I have Americans saying that Russians are okay. I have people talking about selling civil rights monuments. I have other people talking about making laws against or making laws to regulate NIL. It is absolute madness. And the reason that it's absolute madness is because all of this stuff that you care about and love and respect, all of this happens at the polls. And every 2 years, every 4 years, and then depending on your local municipalities, maybe a year, there are elections that affect you. And whether or not you realize it affects you, it affects you. So when you're out here complaining about, well, what about this? You didn't know that they was going to scale back the Veterans Administration because they told you that. They told you that. You didn't know that they were going to try and dismantle the Department of Education. Now they rolled that back. Oh, we're not going to do that right now. But they said they was going to do that. And the people who knew what was going to happen and told you what was going to happen are notoriously quiet because the people who are acting shocked because they voted for this thought it wasn't going to affect them. And I try to be as respectful as I can in this day and age. It's real hard for me to be respectful. It is. But when I see people complaining about the fact that they've lost their jobs when they voted for this guy, or they voted for the local politician who was on a platform of destroy. See, it's as a software developer, they tell us it is our job to go in and break stuff. No, it's not. It's not. It's never our job to break stuff. But that's the mentality that you have of a guy who's running around pretending to do the work of the people who was never elected. When you break stuff, people lose money. Every action has a reaction. As a software guy, it is my job to make people's lives better, not worse. So if you have a guy who says he's a software developer, became an entrepreneur, and he's running around breaking stuff, sounds like to me you might own some Tesla stock. Sounds like to me that your stock is probably in the trash. Sounds like to me that you still holding on to that crypto that you bought before the beginning of the year because you thought regulations was going to go away and crypto was going to soar through the roof. Now your $100,000 investment is less than 80. I say all this to say one basic thing. You knew this was going to happen because they told you. It is a thing called idolatry. In the movie New Jack City, an older gentleman walked up to Nino Brown after he got off of his trial and said, "Your soul is reserved in hell." Well, right now, America, you in hell. And the reason you in hell is because you voted for this. Don't cry and complain. Fortify yourself. Get through it. And learn from your mistakes. That is the most important thing about history, is learning from your mistakes. But that's all I got, y'all. Marlo, what you got for the people, man?
Well, I'm really looking forward to my trip to Daytona this weekend. Um, that's one. I'm not gonna say how it's gonna go, but always travel with the intent on enjoying myself. So there's that. My daughter is doing well in flag football. I am really trying not to insert myself in her development because I want her to enjoy the game without, me putting my hands in it as much as I'm going to. But this is her first year, and I want her to feel her way in it before I put my stamp on it. So y'all pray for me. It'd be hard having played multiple levels of football and going out there and watching girls play football that haven't played before. Now she got 4 touchdowns on the season, but she the only one who scored touchdowns on the team. So, and they done played 5 games, something like that. So y'all pray for me. So, but yeah, that's about it. I wish everybody peace, love, and all the happiness in the world. Everybody but them people over there in Daytona. I just I just hope y'all wake up every morning. I wish death on nobody. So y'all just keep waking up. That's it. Y'all ain't gotta be happy. Just wake up and realize that y'all went there and then go on with
Mo,
your day. Oh, sorry. But that's it.
Doc, what you got for us this week, man?
We got state finals this week here at this weekend, Saturday, down at the Alamo Dome. And I need them to move. I need them to move the UIL to move the state semis and the state final games back to Austin. It would have been over at uh, the Irwin Center, but I think they got rid of that. But it needs to go back to Austin. And if you don't want to move back to Austin, move it to Dallas. Hey, we have everything. We have everything else up here. Moving on up this way. Move it to the American Airlines Center. Hey, I would say move it over to Dickies Arena in Fort Worth. It's a nice looking arena. It's a new one. It's nice looking. But move it up this way. Don't have it down there in that Alamo Dome. That shit is ridiculous. It don't be nobody there except for the neighborhood kids and little Pookie and Ray right now. But yeah, man. Uh, but move it to Dallas. Like I said, you can move it to Dallas. Have it up in American Airlines Center. Have all the team coming to American Airlines Center. You play in the NBA arena. That's one thing. Shout out to the Duncanville Panthers from coming back down by 20 against the number 1 ranked team in Class 6A here in the state of Texas, and that was Allen High School, who only lost 1 game this year. Duncanville came back from 20 down and beat them by 10 in the state semis. So Duncanville is going to the state championship game. Shout out to the Kimber Knights over in Oak Cliff. They are playing for their 8th state title. It is tradition for Kimball to be down at state in basketball. Some other things we got going on here as far as with the podcast. Gonna be covering Saturday afternoon. We're gonna recap every game from Saturday, SWAC Saturday, and Get ready for a SWAC tournament. Starts on Tuesday. 7-10 matchup versus 8-9 matchup on Tuesday. And then the winners of those two matchups play the first seed and the second seed on Wednesday. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun time down in Atlanta in College Park. Other than that, man, get healthy, Kyrie. Gonna need you back next year. Jerry, go ahead and give Steven the reins to do this draft this year because you're on your last leg, buddy. I told you we're gonna send flowers to your house. Or we're just gonna wake the dead up and tell your mama go put that black dress on. And baseball season get ready to come up in a little, it's starting up with spring training. Get ready to come up in a couple of weeks. So I'm gonna be making my way over to Globe Life Field to watch me a Rangers game. And last but not least, if you are not mad about a 5-year-old and her father getting gunned down, I'm gonna need people to be mad. I don't care if he's a rapper talking about guns, violence, drugs, money, whatever. At the end of the day, my boy was still a father. And he doing everything in his power to protect his child. So I mean, be mad about that if all you can dissect is he rapped about this, that, and the third. And Charleston White, you're a bitch. And last but not least, go JSU. We up by 18 against these dirty kittens from Pine Bluff. Put the foot on the gas.
Before I go to TP, North Carolina A&T won either outright or won a share of the CAAA. So that is their third conference title in a few weeks. So it looks like
women's basketball, bowling, and track and field, right?
Field. Yep. So they things are looking up for them. And
do that shit in football instead of winning one game. Do that shit in football. Where you at, Dave?
Wow, Dave is actually off tonight, by the way. And then real quick, for everybody that follow me, there is a young lady named Cece on Twitter. If you are an ACC member and you ain't got a winning percentage against Florida State, that is not the lady to come for. I'm just telling you, you're gonna get your feelings hurt. TP, what you got for us this week, man?
I try to stray away from political conversation. I'm gonna just talk about the NIL and how, I don't know how laws could be in place and it be something that would affect top to bottom, because the vast majority of the money that comes from the NIL collectives is not directly corresponding to the school or the school's income. So basing anything off of what the school intakes is gonna hurt the players on the lowest level. And then if you try to make those guys come up and then the top guys come down, there's still going to be very disparaging numbers because of those lower schools not being able to afford to meet their cap, and it's still going to have the same issue. That law fixes nothing. I feel like the schools with the most money, they are going to continue to get the better players. It's like that in baseball. because of the salary cap that they have. But I feel like, trying to orchestrate a plan that benefits all sides is going to be really tough to do. Since the introduction of the NIL, we've already seen how some schools can go from the bottom to the top, and some of those guys that were sitting on the top of the hill have started to slide down. And if you ask me, it's a very humbling thing for the teams that were at the top that now see that players can go elsewhere, get paid, and be successful. So I understand opportunities that it presents to players coming out of high school to pretty much change your life immediately. Or a couple years down the line, I look at the Carson Beck deal going to Miami. His life has changed. That is life-changing money. You know what I mean? And before the NIL was a thing, that wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have been available to him. But to see a lot of kids that look like me get the opportunity to make life-changing money, I like it. And I don't know how they can govern NIL. I don't know if the law that they're trying to implement is going to work. But, we're kind of in a wait and see situation because we're in the off season right now. They can't really implement this change until next off season. So, we're going to see how that goes forward. Troy didn't talk about Florida State and their ability to lead the ACC now, which I'm surprised about. They do have the opportunity to leave now. That number came down under 200 million to vacate the ACC. We could see a major shift. And I don't know what that's going to do for their recruiting. I think recruiting will go up because of the amount of competition that would be in the Big Ten if they went that route. I don't know if the SEC is taking applications right now. SEC is kind of full. But there's some teams that are on the bottom that may historically have been there that may be on their way out. We just got to wait and see because if they're not contributing to the overall collective of the conference, then they're pretty much leeching off of the top teams' ability to secure media rights deals. So wait and see. All season should be interesting, especially with seeing how these new recruits come in. We've seen some true freshmen jump on the scene last year and were immediate impacts. I look at Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith, who's going to be the next those guys. And I can't wait to see how the offseason progresses. You muted, Troy.
I think I'm back.
There you go.
All right. Real quick. Bethune. Why y'all post that before we get off the air? Y'all could have waited.
Post what?
Post what?
Bethune-Cookman men's basketball. It's your last chance to catch BCU hoops in action at Moore Gym as we host You Know Who this Saturday. Student admission is always free.
It should be free for everybody else too.
I ain't like and again, this is podcast Troy, not media Troy. Podcast Troy, listen, we got to beat them by 40. They in our way. We might have to see them in the tournament. They in our way.
And podcast doc and media doc is the same. Just like we talked about with Devron, we're going to beat you when we in Tallahassee. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to be JSU by 40. Every time. and twice on Sundays.
Just
They call that disillusions of grandeur.
Mm-mm.
What what that is.
Mm-mm.
On the other
yeah.
side, you got the line, and then you got the bullshit, and then you got the good shit. That's on the side of the bullshit on the line.
Hold on. It's the more wars that came in before, or some more news that came in. Miss Latson at Florida State, who leads the NCAA in scoring. She is a hooper. She is not going to go into the WNBA draft. She is coming back next year to try and win the conference and maybe a national championship. That's what I'm talking about. But for myself, Doc, TP, Marlo, everybody at Fat Mouth Sports, we are out.